There's a moment in every confrontation when emotions hit their highest point. People start shouting, panicking, scrambling for control. And right in the center of that chaos, they're waiting for you to react. They expect fear, anger, maybe even frustration to show on your face. But you remain completely still. Your silence isn't weakness. It's the quiet before the storm. Their noise, their pressure, their desperation. None of it touches you. You're above it. And that's exactly what terrifies them. They can't read you. They can't predict you. In a world overflowing with noise and frantic energy, your stillness becomes a mystery they can't solve. It crawls into their mind, and the harder they try to understand you, the more confused they become. What's happening behind your eyes? Why aren't you reacting like everyone else? Because calmness, real calmness, is a weapon far more dangerous than any burst of anger. It makes them question every decision, doubt their position, and wonder if they're even standing on solid ground. And the moment they start doubting themselves, you've already won. Your calm becomes their cage. The more still you remain, the more they begin to fall apart. And as they unravel, they lose control, while you take it. Be so calm, so utterly still, that it follows them like a ghost. Because in your silence, you're not avoiding a reaction. You're mastering the power of calmness. Most people believe calmness is nothing more than peace, a gentle, serene state used by weak men or monks to avoid conflict. But that belief couldn't be further from the truth. Real calmness isn't passive. It's a calculated power move. It's not the absence of emotion, it's the mastery of it. To stay calm in chaos is to claim the highest form of control. And control, as everyone knows, is power. When you stay calm, when you choose not to show your emotions, you're doing something far more dangerous than simply holding back. You're releasing a weapon that strikes directly at the hearts of those around you. Because when you don't react, when you don't even flinch, you reveal their weakness. Imagine a room thick with tension, people shouting, arguing, all desperate to be heard. But you stand there in a chilling stillness. The entire atmosphere shifts. Suddenly, all eyes are on you. You say nothing, yet your presence becomes the loudest thing in the room. Here's the truth most people fear to admit. The calm man is the one in control. The loudest voices are usually the most insecure. Their words crack under the weight of their own fear. Their bodies twitch with anxiety. But you stand like solid stone, unmoving, unshaken. And that stillness frightens them. It sends a message they can't ignore. You are unbothered. Think back to the last heated argument you witnessed, or the last moment filled with anxiety. The calm person was never the weak one. They were the one shaping the narrative, the one who didn't need to raise their voice to make their point, the one who could silence the room with nothing more than their composure. Because calmness does something no amount of noise can achieve. It creates uncertainty. When you're calm, people can't predict you. They can't read your thoughts. They can't tell if you're amused, disgusted, indifferent, or quietly enraged. And that uncertainty creates fear. Fear is the strongest weapon in any struggle for power. People will do anything to avoid feeling exposed or vulnerable. And the calm man makes them feel both. This is why calmness is fear in disguise. It forces people to question everything. When they don't know what you're thinking, when your face gives them nothing, they lose their sense of control. And when people feel out of control, they make mistakes. They act without thinking. They reveal their weaknesses on their own. And here's the twist. Your calmness is never accidental. It's deliberate. It's strategy. It's your plan to stay one step ahead while everyone else reacts to the noise. You stay silent, observing, calculating. You know that in a world filled with chaos, the person who remains unshaken will always rise above. To be calm is to hold your power back deliberately, to let others expose themselves long before you make your move. The more still you remain, the more they try to decipher you, the more they doubt themselves. They begin to spiral. They start questioning their words, their decisions, and eventually, themselves. And as that doubt grows, they unravel piece by piece. Look at the people who always stay in control. The most dangerous individuals you've ever met. Do they get loud? Do they panic? No. They stay calm. And unpredictability, as you'll see later, is one of the most powerful traits a person can possess. You are the calm before the storm. You are the eye of the hurricane. You know something they don't. And they will never understand the depth of your composure until it's far too late. So stay calm. Let them panic. Let them scramble. They'll expose themselves. And in that exposure, you'll make the power of unpredictability. In any power struggle, the greatest weapon you can ever use is unpredictability. And the key to protecting that unpredictability is calmness. Most people follow the same predictable rhythm. They react, they get emotional, they respond instantly to whatever is said or done. But when you refuse to follow that script, when you stay unmoved in the middle of chaos, you create a mystery no one can break through. It's in this silence, this controlled stillness, that you become unreadable. People are trained to search for signs, a twitch, a smirk, a frown, anything that reveals what you're really thinking. But when you choose calmness, you deny them every clue. They can't tell if you're amused, irritated, indifferent, or quietly planning your next move, and that is where the power of unpredictability lives. When others can't predict your next step, they become weak. They try harder to decode you, but the more they fail, the more the situation slips out of their hands. Uncertainty creates anxiety, and anxiety makes people vulnerable. The more they push to break your calm, the more you remain untouched. And in that untouched silence, you gain the upper hand. Think of a chess match. The best players aren't the aggressive ones, but the ones who wait. They watch every move, every subtle shift, studying their opponent for the slightest mistake. And when that mistake finally appears, the quiet player strikes. Life works the same way. Your stillness becomes a terrain that others don't know how to navigate. When someone reacts with anger, frustration, or emotion, they're surrendering control to you. Every word they spit, every move they make, is simply a reaction to you. They're playing your game, whether they realize it or not. This is where calmness and unpredictability merge. By remaining composed, you're playing a game they don't even know they're in. But real power isn't just in staying still. It's in knowing when to move. And that is the beauty of calmness. It's not about being silent all the time. It's about knowing when to speak, when to act, and when to remain completely motionless. Unpredictability doesn't only apply to confrontations. It works everywhere. In business, social dynamics, even family relationships. The moment you step out of the pattern, the moment you stop being predictable, you take control of the entire narrative. Imagine you're in a negotiation. The other side expects you to respond instantly, to counter their offer, to show hesitation, to reveal a crack. But instead, you stay calm. You sit back. You say nothing. And when you finally make your move, It arrives at a moment they never expected. You knock them off balance with ease. Look at the people who dominate life. Leaders, titans, warriors. They're not loud. They're not impulsive. They act with precision. They know exactly when to strike and exactly when to wait. And they understand that waiting, standing their ground, holding their calm, is one of the most terrifying moves they can make. You can see the panic in others' eyes. They're constantly trying to solve a puzzle you've intentionally made unsolvable. And this, my friend, is how you gain control without even lifting a finger. You want people to fear you without raising your voice. You want them to feel like they're walking on thin ice, never sure if your silence is approval or a warning. That is true power. Because in the end, the unpredictable man is the one who shapes the world around him. The calm man is the one who rises above the noise, watches the game from above, and decides exactly when to make his move. And in that final moment, the instant they least expect it, you strike. You stay calm. And that unpredictability becomes your most lethal, the psychological war weapon. Now that we've established the power of calmness and unpredictability, let's go deeper into the psychological war you unleash the moment you choose to remain calm. In any interaction, emotions are a powerful force. They shape decisions, create alliances, and can even manipulate people into doing exactly what you want. But here's the truth. Emotions aren't just your weapon. They're also your opponent's weakness. When people feel threatened, attacked, or challenged, they react emotionally. It's instinct. They defend themselves. They lash out. They raise their voices, trying to appear powerful through sheer emotion. And this is where you take the upper hand. When you stay calm, you disrupt their entire psychological system. You push them into a loop of self-doubt, confusion, and insecurity. Because once they react emotionally, they get trapped inside their own mind. They're no longer focused on you. They're focused on themselves. Think about it. How hard is it to think clearly when you're angry or upset? How hard is it to make a smart decision when your mind is fogged by rage or panic? This is why staying calm becomes your most powerful tool. While everything around you spirals into chaos, your mind stays clear. And that clarity gives you an advantage no one can compete with. When someone is emotionally charged, they can't think straight. They say things they don't mean. They make empty threats. They act in ways that make no sense. And in those moments, the calm person becomes the master. You see the situation from a different angle. You stay one step ahead. You're not reacting to their emotions. You're watching them unfold like pieces on a chessboard. This is what makes calmness so disruptive. The more they react emotionally, the more composed you remain, and the more they start questioning themselves. They begin wondering why you're not reacting the way they expected. Just that thought alone shakes their confidence. It's like pulling the ground from beneath their feet. Their emotions, anger, fear, frustration, no longer affect you. They begin to feel powerless. Their emotional strength becomes their weakness, and their mental stability starts to crack. They start asking themselves, why isn't he reacting? What does he know that I don't? Your silence becomes a mind game, one they don't even realize they're caught in. They keep trying to read you, trying to predict your next move. But because you reveal nothing, they're left in constant uncertainty. That's the beauty of calmness. It's unpredictable. It's unexplainable. The louder they become, the more they expose themselves. The calmer you become, the more questions they're left with. And in that space, that silent void of uncertainty, you gain complete control of the narrative. You make them question everything, their position, their intentions, their confidence. Just by not reacting to their emotional outbursts, you turn their strengths into weaknesses. They start thinking, what does he know? Why is his silence shaking at me? Why am I losing control? And when they start doubting themselves, that's when you've already won. This is the real power of calmness. It's not about ignoring the chaos around you. It's about controlling the mental space where the real battle is happening. When you control their thoughts by staying calm and composed, you control the outcome. As they overthink, second-guess, and analyze every move they make, they grow more paranoid and more vulnerable. And that mental instability opens the perfect moment for you to strike, to make your move when they're least ready. The mind is a battlefield, and calmness is the most lethal weapon you possess. By keeping your head clear, you disrupt their thinking and force them to play your game, not theirs. The silence theirs. In every moment of tension or conflict, the real battle is never in the words spoken, the actions taken, or the arguments exchanged. The true battle exists in the silence between them, because silence is the space where power is built. And in that silence, calmness becomes the ruler. We often imagine power as something loud, forceful, or aggressive, something that demands attention through volume or intimidation. But real power lies in the absence of noise. In those still moments where you stand unshaken, your presence becomes stronger. Why do some people command attention without saying a single word? Why does one leader draw people in, while another shouts endlessly and gets ignored? It's because they've mastered the art of staying calm in chaos. They understand that quiet authority is far more effective than any scream or display of aggression. When you choose to remain calm, you create an invisible force around you, an aura of composure that is magnetically powerful. People are drawn to calmness even if they don't understand why. It radiates confidence, control, and a quiet form of dominance. And here's the truth. Most people crave this kind of calm because it's the opposite of the chaos inside them. Imagine a room full of people, all loud, emotional, and overwhelming. Now picture one person standing in the center, completely untouched by the noise, radiating pure serenity. That person isn't trying to take the spotlight, but without speaking, they own the entire room. They've mastered the power of silence. This is the aura of power you build by staying calm. It's not something you can fake. It's a state of mind, a quiet strength that people feel the moment they stand near you. They can't fully explain why they're drawn to you, but they feel it. This silent magnetism is a true sign of dominance. Why does it work? Because in a world where most people are stuck in emotional reactions, the calm person breaks the pattern. Everything around you is frantic, unbalanced, and constantly shifting. People react without thinking. They speak without purpose. But you step out of that chaos. You enter a place of mental clarity and emotional control. In your calmness, you disrupt their noise. The louder they become, the more uneasy your calmness makes them feel. You don't need to raise your voice or force your presence. You simply become the still point in the middle of a storm. And when you stay calm, others unconsciously feel the need to quiet down around you. They start aligning their energy with yours. You'll notice people asking for your opinion more often, deferring to your judgment, seeking your presence as if it has gravity of its own. But calmness isn't just about stillness. It's about knowing when to act. This is where the true power of silence shows itself. When you're calm and quiet, you control the rhythm of the situation. People can't predict your next move, and that unpredictability gives you complete control. Think of the calm leader who never raises their voice, yet makes the most powerful decisions. When chaos rises, their choices become sharper, wiser, more deliberate. They never act out of panic. Their calmness allows them to observe, analyze, and then move with precision. When you become this person, never rushed, never shaken, others begin to see you as someone in total command. You become the eye of the storm, calm, composed, and in control of everything swirling around you. Remember, power lies not in how loudly you speak, but in how quietly you dominate. Untouchable. By now, you've learned that calmness is more than just a state of mind. It's a weapon, a shield, and an invisible force that transforms how others perceive and interact with you. Now, we arrive at the ultimate truth. When mastered, calmness makes you untouchable. Here's why. In a world overflowing with noise, chaos, and emotional reactions, you become the one they can't reach, the one they can't rattle. People who remain calm in the face of adversity are impossible to manipulate. Why? Because no one can provoke or control you through emotional triggers. When you stay calm, you hold all the cards. Being untouchable isn't about being aloof or detached, though those traits may accompany it. It's about achieving a level of self-mastery that nothing external can shake. When others lash out in anger, desperation, or fear, you remain unshaken, disarming them instantly. People don't know how to respond when their attempts to provoke you fail. This creates an aura of invulnerability. The more you practice this calmness, the more it becomes reflexive, and eventually a natural part of who you are. As you grow into this power, others will notice it, often without understanding why. They'll sense that you're always in control, and they'll be drawn to your energy. Here's the ultimate truth. Those who grasp this power and wield it effectively can achieve anything, because when you remain calm, others begin to follow your lead. They see you as the one with clarity, and in that perception, you become the leader, even when everyone else is running on emotions. This is how you become truly untouchable. You no longer depend on external validation, nor are you influenced by the chaos around you. You control your mind, your actions, and ultimately, your destiny. The calmness you cultivate doesn't just affect those around you. It changes the course of your life. Remember, the power of calmness isn't about confusing others or making them uncomfortable. It's about creating an inner peace so strong that no outside force can break it. And in that peace, you find freedom. Freedom from reaction. Freedom from fear. Freedom to move, think, and act without anyone holding power over you. So as we conclude, reflect on the journey you've taken. Calmness is your key to unparalleled control, influence, and untouchability. It's your ability to stay composed in intense situations, reclaim power in a world of emotional chaos, and shape reality around you with unwavering poise. If you want to master the art of becoming untouchable and stay calm in any storm, remember, stay calm, stay collected, and never let the world shake you.